Bonnie Power here. This is step 4 of the 5-step process of how to attract good quality clients through LinkedIn. And we're at the pointy end. This is where all of the really proactive outreach goes. So I think for step 1s through to 3, we've really been setting up the foundation. We've been creating inbound opportunities, which is always the great way to go about marketing these days. We've all been told that, but I believe very much that it's a combination of both inbound and outbound marketing that gets the best results, because you can have the best quality content, you can have a really good profile, and you can wait for people to refer you and for that to happen organically, and it will. But I'm sort of in a hurry, and I like to get things done like as soon as possible. And if I want to achieve a goal, I want to be able to be really proactive and get out there and make stuff happen. And the best way, this is the reason why I love LinkedIn so much, and this is why I've specialised in it over the last 10 years. I've been helping people with their LinkedIn profiles. It's because, once you know the type of client that you want to get, you can be really specific and just send that person an invitation to connect. And then nurture the relationship. And then when you feel that it's right, you reach out to them and you start a conversation. And that's what this step is all about. So this is the money step. This is where all of the hard work, all the content that you've created and you put in front of your profiles, and you've been building up your network with having these good people in, and that's part of this step. This is where it really all comes into this. This is where the rubber hits the road. So I'm really excited about talking to you about this step, because this is when your cash register starts to sing. So let's do it. So the first step of this is it's like a timeline. So I just thought that's the best way for me to sort of explain this step. So the first thing is to build your network, and that's where you build through Sales Navigator. You say, show me a list of maybe the business owners, the managing directors, or the CEOs of organisations, perhaps within the accounting field, that perhaps are in maybe Melbourne or wherever city that you want to specialise in. Maybe you say so you'll use those search criteria to find your ideal type of client, and then you will create like a message, a general message that you can use for the majority of them. Just as a base sort of template that you can work off. And then you start to use LinkedIn, and you go in, you have a look at their profile, you see, if you're connected with, particular people, and you could perhaps put that into your LinkedIn message if you like as totally best practice. And I suppose the higher the worth of the client, the more you would personalize the message. So you could go the extra mile and really personalize every message with a little statement about, maybe we belong to the same industry, or maybe we're we follow, the same football, or whatever it is. We went to the same school, high school or university, you know what I mean. So that's to do it. Now, if you've got time, I would say do 10 a day at the minimum. But my ideal, and this is what we do for our clients, is between 20 and 50 to even 60, 70 a day. So we really go full throttle, because we get to spend a lot more time on this than what you would. So once that's done, once they've connected, it's day 1. We say that's the day that the connection was made. So that might take them a couple of weeks to connect up, because not everyone goes onto LinkedIn every single day. But when they do, they connect up, and then we give a couple of days, and we say that's when you send a message to say, thanks for your connection. And that's where I sort of like to start to get them indoctrinated a little bit if they're interested. Maybe say, this is what I do, and if you're interested, I've got this really great article, either on LinkedIn or on my website, that will show you how to, and then insert key problem, and then within a time frame, within 30 days, or perhaps something catchy. It's got to be a catchy headline that that your target market would really resonate with and be interested in. So that's the thank you. And then at that point, I would suggest you put their names into a spreadsheet so that you start, and this is what we do, just you want to start mapping this out because LinkedIn makes it really hard to track your leads. So I just use a Google Sheet at the moment, and we go through and we just say this is the date that they connected. The thank you message was sent on this date, and then you could wait for maybe, I would say suggest about 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. And then I would ask them, because there's about 3% of the population that are really actually ready to buy right now. So what you want to do is, get that low-hanging fruit. You actually want to see if anyone's interested in your services, because you sort of want to get a return on the investment that you're spending on LinkedIn. So this is the point where I'd ask them if they're interested in your services, if they're interested in finding out more, and that's a strategically written. So I would even get a copywriter to write that message. It is very important that gets done correctly. Too many people sound like they're spammy, salesy. It's not done properly at all. So that's a very important message. And you will get response from that. You will actually get response from the thank you letter as well. Like I've gotten probably about $100,000 worth of business over the last 3 weeks in my pipeline from the thank you message, and then the actual what we call the marketing message. Incredible value because it's written properly. The next step, if they're not interested, if they don't respond to that sort of marketing message asking if they'd like to find out more, then I would start nurturing them. So this is where you would share a link to that pillar piece of content that you've already created and you've uploaded. And then, just sort of wait, like maybe every 3 weeks you would come back to them. And each time you're sending these messages, you're updating your spreadsheet to make sure that you know what's working and what's not. So you can start to see, if people are responding really, really well to your thank you message, but not so much to your marketing message, then you know that something's wrong with your marketing message. That similarly with the posts, with the content, you can actually see from your Google Analytics and from your email, if they actually do go over to your website, you can say, wow, people are really responding to that message because if I'm sending them to that article, and so that message is working really, really well. So Google Analytics is going to be a really good indicator to see what's working and what's not with your messaging on LinkedIn. All right, and then this is another step that I used last year. Actually, I was doing research on what I was just thinking, which industries do I want to specialize in to help with LinkedIn, and I sent about 500 or 600 messages out to particular people across different industries, asking them if they would take part in an industry survey. And it was about how they were using LinkedIn to grow their business. And the message was just asking for their opinion. It went over to a little Survey Monkey questionnaire that wasn't too intrusive. It didn't take up too much of their time. And I got the best information from there. I got the words that they were using to describe their frustrations with LinkedIn. I got a whole list of information about what they wanted to know more about LinkedIn. Whole heap of stuff, really great data, and that helped me build my business. So over the next 12 months, we just went for we're almost doubling, tripling every year. So really, really awesome. So I would suggest that's why I'm sharing that with you today, because it really worked for me. I know that surveys, they increase engagement. You're not trying to sell anyone; you're just asking for their opinion. They actually work really, really well. So I'd like you to consider using that in your marketing strategy. As a way of developing a relationship with your prospective clients. And that's a great way to start a conversation. The next one is to send the thank you message to say thank you for participating in the survey. And here's the results. I've put them into a little article I wrote that shows the exact research, findings and my take on what's happening, with all of the industry, all the disruption that's happening. I've written an article, and because you participated, I'm really particularly interested to see what your thoughts are on the article. So again, you're driving engagement. You're focusing on developing that relationship with that person. And this strategy is good. Like as I said before, if your average, lifetime value of your client is around about the $20,000 to $100,000 mark, then this is worth it. This type of marketing is cream of the crop type of quality. You're not sending spammy messages and doing all that sort of stuff. You are really developing and nurturing relationships. And some people are going to buy from you, in the next 3 months. Other people are a bit shy or they're not ready. So but they will. It's working. So the marketing, when they are ready to buy, they will know who they're going to come to. So you don't give up on this stuff. It's consistent and it's considered and it's strategic. So it'll work. Now, if you get to sort of day 150 of, this is a proposed timeline and they're just, this is an option that you think, well, they're not interested at the moment in my services. Obviously, that's fine, that's cool. But they've got like 10 people in their network who I can see are my second degree connections that are just as lucrative perhaps as a prospective client, and I would love to speak to them. So at that point, if you feel comfortable, if you feel it's sort of appropriate, you can ask to be introduced to a couple of people from their network. And they should be more inclined to say yes, because they've been seeing, they've been receiving these messages, but they've also been seeing all the work you've been doing, which is step 3, which is all that content sharing. So they're already very familiar with your name. There's already goodwill being created. So you're just leveraging that. If they're not going to buy from you now, maybe some of their friends will. So I hope that's helped. I'll see you in the last step. Thank you.